Hello to all the Prophet Roamers out there. This is Prophet Roamer, and I am back with another video. Always remember to wonder, invest, and prosper. I wanted to do a real talk video about my travels outside of the U.S. As you all know, I'm right now in the beautiful country of the Dominican Republic, in the city of Las Galeras, at a beautiful hotel here. Check out those videos as well. You know, I posted some videos about Las Galeras. But anyway, and I went to Japan about a month ago. And so I wanted to do a video about real talk of my experience living abroad. So firstly, let's talk about how the locals treat me and my experience. The locals here in the Dominican Republic, they have a saying, tranquilo, relax, calm down. You're on an island, you know, so, you know, you got that island vibe and that relaxing vibe out here. And it's very communal, it's very family orientated. Is very much so centered around food and music. And people will welcome you as a part of their family here. Now in Japan is more so, as we all know, a homogenous country. And mostly everyone abides by the norms. You know, abides by the norms of bowing and respecting each other and going about those norms. For example, when you're on the train in Osaka, Japan, the people come out first and then you go on to the train. And when you're going up the escalator, you go to the right side of the escalator if you're not in a rush, so that the other people on the other side can rush up the escalator if they are in a rush. And these are just common things that happen in Japan. And also, respect is mutual. You bow, somebody else will bow towards you as well, showing you mutual respect. So this is how the locals would treat you in the Dominican Republic and in Japan. So what have I learned about myself and from living outside of the U.S., which is a great question. From the Dominican Republic, I've learned to value family more. I think America has lost that. We used to have it, but we've lost that. Valuing family, getting together around food and music and just seeing each other and making sure your family's all right. I think it's more so of a work culture, work, and not really enjoying life. Here, they like to enjoy life in the Dominican Republic. In addition to that, it's a tranquilo type of lifestyle, an island type of lifestyle. If you need to go to an appointment and you're a little late, no problem. You get to your appointment. You may not be able to be seen next, but you will be able to be seen. On the contrary, living in America, that's not happening. Now, as far as Japan is concerned, I've learned that society can run a lot more smoother if you have societal norms that everyone abides by. Societal norms such as respect, certain etiquettes as far as transportation is concerned, and certain etiquettes as far as, you know, eating and saying thank you and showing your appreciation. I think if those were applied in America and that people respected each other a lot more and we had norms of courteousness and respectfulness, I think a lot of things will run a lot smoother in this country, or in that country, in America. I'm in the Dominican Republic right now. So the biggest culture shock to me, being in the Dominican Republic, I am a friendly person. I like to talk to people, but on the contrary, uh, everybody says "Hola, cómo estás" here. Anybody you meet, and in the U.S., not everybody says hello and how you're doing. Most of the time here in the Dominican Republic, somebody's going to say something to you if you pass them by, and it's pretty refreshing actually. I think the biggest culture shock to me being in Japan, it's just that everything comes with rice. I know that might sound like a cliche, but rice is everywhere. I was like, I want something different. You know what I'm saying? But I think that was the biggest culture shock for me being in both of those places. But I think the biggest culture shock overall is the reverse culture shock that I experience when I get back to the United States. Yes, because when I get back to the United States and you see the news, or you go out in public, you can feel that you're in America. And I think you know where I'm going with that. You could feel the tension that being in America brings. So the reverse culture shock is my biggest culture shock. I'm going to be quite honest with you all, pretty frank with you all. I'm an American. I'm also a veteran. I fought for that country, for the United States of America. I served for that country. I've been to many places in the U.S., New York, Las Vegas, Los Angeles, up and down the East Coast, D.C., Virginia. I would rather travel abroad than travel in America. I will still go to Los Angeles because that's where my family is at, but I would rather travel abroad. And there's many reasons for that. I experience a lot of peace when I travel abroad. Like I can enjoy life and the pace is a lot slower and I feel more present and things are not so much in a rush. And like I said, the tension that's going on in America, it literally drops off of me and I don't feel it when I'm abroad outside of America. So, yeah. So that is why I like traveling abroad instead of traveling in America. Although I do like traveling abroad and being outside of America, there are also some pros to being inside of America. For example, Japan, the hotels are very small, the houses are very small, they don't have backyards, you don't have your gas guzzler type vehicles out there in Japan, and you're in a homogenous culture where you will never be Japanese. And I think that is the cons of being in Japan. But on the contrary, that's the pros of being in America. I can have my backyard. I can have my big house. I can have a nice size hotel. I can have my SUV and things of that nature. And I'm a Black American. It's my country. You know what I'm saying? On the contrary, I'll never be Japanese. The cons to being in the Dominican Republic, you have to be used to the heat. In some places, there's garbage. In a lot of places, they need to get a handle of the garbage here, the basura. Those are my major 2 points as far as my cons to being in the Dominican Republic. The garbage, and it can get very hot here. But you could mitigate that by living in a good good neighborhood, or getting an Airbnb in Piantini, or going to the countryside and staying in a nice hotel. So at that point, it's no problem. So yeah, and I think the pros of being in Japan and the Dominican Republic is just getting an emotional, mental relief. And what I mean by that, again, is so much political BS going on in America. All these races are divided in America, black, white, Hispanic. It's just so much stuff going on in America. And then you have a lot of the gun violence in America, and, a lot of killing. Although that goes on everywhere, is definitely magnified in America. So I have a lot more peace when I'm in Japan and in the Dominican Republic. Now, would I ever live in the Dominican Republic? Yes, definitely. I will spend years upon years here. I've actually purchased land here. Also, that video about my land is in the channel here. So check that out. So I do plan on living here eventually. Do I see myself ever living in Japan? That's actually a yes too. But I won't say for years. I'll say 6 months to a year. And the reason being is because you'll never be Japanese. I mean, although it's peaceful there and of that nature, they're very shut off on an individual basis of foreigners when you talk to people and being accepted in that culture. Although you can find some cool Japanese people there, you can actually feel that, the feeling that you're not one of them and you kind of don't belong because you're Japanese. But I love Japan though. I could see myself living there for about 6 months to a year. In conclusion, the last question that I've been asking myself in regards to my travels is, how has traveling changed my perspective? How has traveling changed my perspective? Kind of hard to get out there, but I got it out. How has traveling changed my perspective? I've learned that we're all human. We're all dealing with the human condition. And I've also learned that respect and courteousness goes a long way in all cultures. When you go to a country, respect what they do and try to do it as well to show them that you respect their culture. Like the old saying goes, when in Rome, do what the Romans do. And I've learned that, and I can continue take that to other countries that I travel to, and I can share that with you all as well. When you go into a new country, do what they do, learn their norms, show them respect. When in Rome, do what the Romans do. So I'm glad you guys joined in. Hopefully you guys stayed to the end and heard everything that I talked about. And Profit Roamers, always remember to wonder, invest, and prosper. And I'll see you guys later. Peace out.